Here we have an example of a eukaryotic cell. And so by eukaryotic cell, we have a lot of internal compartments that are all surrounded by membranes, and that's going to give us a lot of division of the inside of the cell, and each one of those parts is going to be able to specialize. So if we just do a really quick look at the cell parts that we have here, the first one is the nucleus, and the nucleus is shown here in the pink. And notice that it says, "Everyone do what I say." And that's because we can think of the nucleus as the brain of the cell, or in other words, it is the control center. So it is going to be dictating what all the other parts of the cell do, and the way that it's going to do that is that it does house the DNA, which then controls everything. This one down here, the endoplasmic reticulum, is located right there next to the nucleus, and the endoplasmic reticulum's little speech bubble says, "You guys be quiet, I have so much work to do." And the reason that it's saying that is that we can think of the endoplasmic reticulum, or what we commonly call the ER, that we like to think of as the manufacturing plant. And as the manufacturing plant, it is going to be producing all different types of molecules that we'll be utilizing in the cell. So this is going to be things like lipids, a variety of lipids, that would be phospholipids, fat molecules, triglycerides. It also is responsible for making a lot of carbohydrates, and we'll also have what we call secretory proteins produced by certain parts of the endoplasmic reticulum, and specifically it would be the rough ER that's going to be doing that. So it is going to be a part of the cell that's constantly working, and it is rather large inside the cell, much larger than the scale we see drawn in this picture. The Golgi apparatus down here is telling us that it needs a break. And the reason the Golgi needs a break is we can think of the Golgi as the processing plant. And as the processing plant, it is really accepting a lot of that stuff that comes from the ER. So the ER is going to be making stuff and then sending it to the Golgi. The Golgi is going to process it further, and so make little modifications to those products, and then it will basically send them out. So it'll start shipping them out to wherever they need to go inside the cell. So we think of it as the processing plant, and then we could also think of it as the shipping center. If we continue to go through here, the mitochondria, these are very tiny. There's a ton of them inside of the cell. Those are the little power plants. So they are producing energy all of the time, and that energy that they're producing is in the form of ATPs. The ribosomes, they are constantly making protein. So we can think of them as little protein factories, and they are very, very tiny, and that's why they're just shown as little specks in this picture. So there will be tons of those inside the cell. The lysosome here is telling us that everything it touches, it destroys. And that's because the lysosome is going to contain what we call hydrolytic enzymes. And hydrolytic enzymes perform hydrolysis reactions. And if you'll recall, hydrolysis reactions actually broke bonds that held together polymers. So this right here is a digestion center. And that digestion could be for eating purposes. It could also be for recycling purposes if we needed to recycle some of the compounds inside the cell. And then the last one we have shown on here is the vacuole. The vacuole says, "I feel quite fulfilled," and that's because this is for storage. And that is storage of all different types of things depending on the cell type that we're looking at. This could be storage of food, it could be storage of waste, storage of pigments, just a variety of things that could be stored in there. So that's a quick look at a generic eukaryotic cell and a variety of the components that we have inside. This is just a quick look at them, and there's certainly more components that we could talk about. So take a look at the other components that you have listed in your textbook and make sure that you know what they do as well.